How big a threat will Trey Lance be to Dak Prescott either sooner or later?
Trey's not, I want to say this. I want to say this right. I know I haven't had a chance to talk about my Cowboys, and I sat on my couch listening to people and the rhetoric that they rolled off their radio out of their mouth. I said, God, it's the worst music I can hear. Trey Lance is no threat to Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys are coming out back-to-back 12-win seasons. Back-to-back 12-win seasons. Yeah, they didn't get to where they wanted to go in the playoffs. But they got to the second round. They should have. And I believe this year they will get farther because they've gotten the parts. Trey Lance puts the Cowboys in what I call the perfect quarterback situation. What is the perfect quarterback situation? Let's discuss this. You need a starter, a bona fide winner that's a starter, and you have that in Dak Prescott. You need a backup that in case anything happens to your starter, he can come in and win football games. Let us not play. We saw Cooper Rush. He presented Rush Hour 4 right here in L.A. last year. Cooper Rush did his thing. You got a great backup. You got a great starter. That third quarterback in every team, if you have the perfect quarterback situation, is the project quarterback that you're working on, that you won't let see the field for another 3 to 4 years. That's what Trey Lance is, guys. Nothing more. And I hear everybody, we go, the Cowboys traded Trey Lance. What does that mean for Dak Prescott? It means absolutely nothing. It means he has a great young pupil that he can impart some knowledge to, that when this project gets ready to play, he can do some things. And that's 4 years away from now. So stop trying to put a virus in the head of my guys in that locker room, in their computer, trying to say, oh, well, Trey's here for Dak. And people can start getting in these little corners and talk about when Dak make a bad decision or interception. We should go with Trey. Stop saying that, people. Stop it. Don't let the rhetoric get to you. Trey is not a threat to Dak. But it's a great pickup for the Dallas Cowboys. I will expand on that later on.
It may not be a threat right now, no, Michael. Today, Dak Prescott's missed a lot of time, 33 games in the last 3 seasons he's played in.
Right.
Okay? So when you look at that, in 2 years and $65 million left, how much of that is guaranteed? This is why I'm saying this. When you talk about 4 years from now, he's missed time. And you know how these things are. When a guy gets hurt and somebody else comes in and he starts to play, well, I know I don't want to go Drew Bledsoe. I don't want to go Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady, but I am. I got to. And all of a sudden you look up and this guy light has turned on because Coach McCarthy and them are doing the right things. And you almost saw it with Cooper Rush last year. Almost. But he couldn't get them where they needed to. So they had to go back to Dak Prescott. The offense was still going and muttering along. It was going, but it was a Cooper Rush game plan. Once they deviated away from that and went back to Dak Prescott, Dak had his issues. Now, Trey Lance was the number 3 pick overall for a reason, okay? Because he could play. He just couldn't play in San Francisco in the situation he was in. Kept getting hurt. So they said, okay, they moved on from him. You picked this guy up as the 4th-round pick. You picked Trey Lance up.
Great play. Great call.
It's
great
a
call.
Great call.
Great situation.
Now you got to keep Dak healthy, okay? You keep him healthy, the rest is history. For whatever reason, you open up that door. What is it, Wally Pip? Is that him?
Wally Pip.
Yeah.
You open up that door for this dude to slide in.
This amazes me.
No, it does not.
It amazes
Playmaker. You know good and well if this dude does anything, and Dak all of a sudden, and I'm not saying Dak throws an interception, they like all of a sudden go to the number 2 or number 3 guy. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about injury. When a guy is injured and somebody else is playing better, you know how these coaches get. And what is it that Jerry so desperately wants to do right now? Try to finish strong and win a championship.
Well, let's
know that.
Okay, one quick point. So you're saying you could see at some point that Trey Lance will be the starting quarterback?
No. If Dak was to get injured, he's been injured in the past.
And if Trey gets his shot,
and if Trey gets his shot, and if he gets that shot and he plays the way that he was drafted to play.
You have seen nothing. You have seen nothing to indicate
that is very Michael. That is true.
You have seen nothing.
But let's not say it's not a threat because it's not true.
Let's deal in facts. Let's deal in facts. We're gonna deal in facts. They can't get out of Dak's deal anytime soon. Trey Lance is on a first-round contract in 2 years. They're going to have that option to
We
bring
don't
up. They're
have
not,
to go to money.
They're not
We
bringing
can
up
stay on the
the option.
field.
They're not accepting his option. They're not going to pick up his option if he's not the starter. So he got 2 years. You got 2 years. You're talking about a 4-year plan. You got 2. You got 2 to make a decision on Trey Lance before you got to pay him big-time money. And you're not paying him big-time money if he's not the starter. So Dak in 2 years still has $36 million in dead money. So if you want to get rid of Dak in 2 years in 2025, then you got to cut him and eat 36 million.
It's not about getting rid of him.
1 second. What, you going to keep him? You going to hold on to him while somebody else starts? You are not.
Wait.
You are not going to hold
What
on
do
to
you mean when somebody else is starting?
Well, let me
Nobody
make
else
my
is
point.
starting but Dak.
Okay, so if nobody else is starting but Dak, then what are we talking about here?
We're talking about, in 2 years, him getting backup money to be the backup to Dak Prescott by Cooper Rush goes and get a deal because he deserves it. That's what we're talking about happening.
Backup money.
So we're going to take 2 years to train him because Cooper Rush deal is up in 2 years. We're going to take 2 years to train him to be the backup to Dak. And then those next 2 years, he's going to try to train and become a starter. You don't need to go to Drew Brees or anyone else. Dak Prescott can go to his own situation. He came in and took that job from Tony Romo when Tony Romo got hurt. But now, wait. But Dak Prescott came right in and showed he can win right away. Trey Lance hadn't shown you anything that he can win in this league anywhere. So let us stop with this being a threat to Dak. It's a good asset for Dallas, but not a threat to Dak. I'm sorry, I hadn't been on TV in a while. I don't mean to take over nothing, but I hadn't worked in a long time.
Let's stop acting like Dak.
But that ain't right.
Let's stop acting like Dak. Dak led the league in picks and only played 12 games. Let's stop. Let's stop because y'all done lost your damn minds. Slow it down. What I'm saying is Trey Lance is not, y'all expecting this man to come in here and say, I'm just going to be okay being a backup. He was a number 3 pick.
Do that. No,
number 3 pick, and y'all think he's just going to say in 2 years, yeah, I'm cool being a backup. Let me keep being a backup. There's nobody in the NFL built like that.
It ain't what he says out his mouth, it's what his talent says on the field.
His talent said he got picked number 3. He only played
your
6
talent
games.
says you got to sit your butt down and learn.
He's played
That's
6
what
games.
he has to do. I understand that.
He's played 6 games.
Now, wait. I don't want to make this sound like I'm coming at Trey. I love what we got in Trey. I love what Trey gonna bring. And I think Trey's gonna do great in Dallas because that stuff in San Francisco, a whole different league. That offense is a whole different offense. It's a hard offense. I couldn't learn that offense. I hated that offense. And I had to play it. Every year during in the Pro Bowl because after we tapped that butt of San Fran, they were the coaches in this Pro Bowl. So I had to always run their offense. I hated their offense. I still don't know their offense. It was so hard. Did y'all see that play where they showed Tua and he named that play? Did y'all hear all that rhetoric come out of his mouth? Now, I was in the huddle. I heard, what do I run? I didn't even know what to run. It's so hard. So when I say to Trey, yes, that was a difficult offense. And I understand you couldn't get that offense. I'm just saying, I'm not saying he can't pick it up because I'm not calling myself dumb that I couldn't pick it up. I couldn't pick it up. Troy would call a play and look at me and say 3-route, Mike. I said, okay. And then he'll call a play, look at me and say 5-route, Mike. Okay, 7-route, Mike. I won the MVP like that. But I ain't no damn play in that huddle. So Trey, I know how tough that is. This offense is going to be perfect for him.
Yeah, but
this is a more simplified offense. It's going to be perfect. I give him 2 years in this offense, he'll be ready to make some noise.
But look, man, we talking about a threat to him. I understand.
He's not a threat.
But I understand we don't want it to be a threat. All I'm saying to you, Michael, and to you, Sherman, is that when you take a guy on a flyer as a 4th-round pick, give up a 4th-round pick for him, you give him opportunity to learn, just like you say.
Right.
He's going to learn the system. But if something were to happen to Dak at some point in time along the way, and that young man, even though you say he hadn't done anything, he really hadn't because he hadn't had the opportunity. No. His butt's been hurt. But if he stays healthy and all of a sudden that light turns on, you can't tell me that Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy, and I'm not talking about this year, maybe it's next year, maybe it's the year after when he maybe does one of those Jordan Love type deals. They don't pick up the option. Now all of a sudden he gets high paid backup money and you insert him into the lineup if something was to happen to Dak. So let's not just say it's not a threat. It's certainly a threat.
It's definitely a threat. Definitely insurance. It's definitely insurance.
Yes.
And in order for a guy,
insurance is not a threat. It's so good to get. Wait, I'm missing something.
Time out. It is my turn. I need him to be a threat to my quarterback, because where you and I go like this is I am not sold on Dak Prescott. I have seen a whole lot of Dak Prescott, and I have seen enough. I don't need a backup because we have the best backup in the National Football League, and it ain't even close. I need a starter at some point down the line, but I'm not sure how to get from point A to point B.
I just told you.
Okay, here's the point. Before Trey Lance was drafted, I sat right here at this desk and I said, I would plunge for that kid. I said, he'll be at least as good as Trevor Lawrence. I said, he'll be better than Zach Wilson, who went obviously 2nd overall. I said, he'll be better than Justin Fields, who went 11th overall. He'll be way better than Mac Jones, who went 15th to Belichick. And what happened? You know Kyle Shanahan very well because you played for him. I'm going to say that 2 of the greatest offensive minds in the history of this game are Kyle and his father, Mike Shanahan. Can we agree on that? Those 2 put their heads together, and they looked deep into this kid, albeit at North Dakota State, and they said, you know what? He is so good. We are going to bet the ranch on him. We're going to bet the future. We're going 3 first-round choices.
Insane.
We're going a 3rd-round choice on top of it to vault from 12 to 3 to bet the entire future on Trey Lance. Even though he had played all of 1 season, albeit at North Dakota State, 1 season of starts. Guess what he did in the 1 season? He threw 28 touchdown passes to 0 interceptions, and he ran for 1,100 yards. Again, Carson Wentz came out of there, so it's not Division I. It's a step below it. But still, you had 1 year of tape, and that's all because they played 1 game in the pandemic year. And they said, we bet on Trey. Well, if they bet on Trey, I felt pretty validated at that point. And what happened is rookie preseason, he busts the index finger on his throwing hand. What do you think is going to happen when you bust that? You're going to have a hard time in a really hard offense to run.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he struggles through his rookie year. And then what happened last year early on? He breaks his ankle and dislocates it. Well, it's a terrible injury. It's like Tony Pollard had. But the point is, it's so bad that he's barely played football in pro or college football. He's thrown in his life, in college and pro, he's thrown 400 total passes. Dak threw more passes last year than this kid has thrown in his whole life. So do I still have high hopes for him? Do I think he could ultimately be a little better, just a little better than Dak Prescott? We're talking 6'4", 225. He ran 4.55. He's a little faster. He's a little taller. He's got a little better arm, just a little better arm. And listen, I have done a lot of work on this kid. The intangibles are off the charts. He's a gym rat. He's a great kid. He's a tough kid. In North Dakota State, he's just running over people, which you can't do in your league.
Skip, you're playing yourself here in this situation. In this way, you played yourself here. Now, you gave Cal, and I do agree with you, so much props and credit for the offensive mind and the talent evaluator, all that he is. Okay, if you're giving him all that credit for seeing what he saw in Trey Lance, then you got to also play the other side. That same great mind has seen Trey Lance practice for the last couple years. Even though he loved his physical skill set, how talented he is shoulders down, there was a talent they couldn't measure shoulders up that they said, okay, here's an issue with him discerning this offense. They see him every day, and they said, oh, we're going to keep
but hold on,
Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. No, wait, let me finish.
No.
We're going to keep Brock Purdy, and we're going to keep Sam Darnold over him. They see him in practice every day. So obviously, the same great mind that assessed him must have said, oh, maybe he can't get.
So let me back you up real quick, though, Playmaker. Let me back you up real quick. You say they saw him in practice every single day, so they saw what he is.
They saw it.
They saw him in practice last year. They saw him in practice the year before that. Guess what they decided to do? They decided to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo because they saw him in practice.
Come on now.
They decided to move on from Jimmy G because they saw him in practice. A guy that took him to the Super Bowl. And they said, you know what? We're going to move on from Jimmy G because we believe that Trey Lance is the guy. They saw Brock Purdy in practice last year, too. And they decided to still name Trey Lance the starter. They still made him the starter.
Before Brock Purdy got game.
Hold on.
Before Brock got game.
I understand that.
Right.
But Trey never really got game time. He kept getting hurt at the beginning of things.
So I disagree.
When Dak stepped in, he played right away.
I understand that.
When
because
Trey
Dak
stepped
was
in,
healthy.
Trey did not play right away. He didn't play well right away. The times he did play,
He played well.
He played well against Houston. His rookie year, he played well against the Houston Texans.
He did.
He played a really good game. He played really solid.
And then in Chicago, you can't count Chicago in that rain.
You can count Chicago. Do you know why Chicago happens? That was the turning point for me. That was the turning point. It probably was the turning point for Kyle. Because in those games where Jimmy G is limited, hey, it's just his arm. It's rain. It's it's going to limit him. You got legs of Trey Lance. So they should overcome this circumstance. That's why Kyle drafted him. But what did he do in that game? He threw an interception, and then he fumbled in a critical time in that game.
In a downpour.
In a downpour. But everybody's playing in a downpour. Justin Fields was playing in the same downpour. Justin Fields was playing
in a downpour. It ain't like it's just raining on Trey. It's raining on everybody.
They scored 10 points.
What are we saying?
They scored 10 points in that game, and Chicago didn't hold anybody else to that number. They didn't hold nobody else to that number. No, you missed my point. Because what I'm saying is Trey Lance hasn't played enough football, but the football he did play wasn't good enough.
I am not saying Trey can't play football. The question is Trey a threat in any way to Dak Prescott? I'm saying absolutely not to that. Not right now.
Not right now.
Not at this place.
The future, yes.
I don't even see it becoming a situation in the future. It's going to take him time to grasp this offense.
That's the future,
This is a new offense now. Well, let's say the early future. As I said to you, the next 2 years, he's not coming off that big.
Well,
It's Dax and Cooper Rush. And then we'll move Cooper Rush in 2 years when his contract is up and move him to backup. And we will see when he gets an opportunity when Dak goes down. He'll get an opportunity to get on the field, and he has to shine then. He can't do what he's done the last
I don't think the learning curve of the offense is going to be that severe.
I'm with you on that. That's what I talked about earlier.
It has principles of the West Coast system. Remember, Mike McCarthy has principles.
Right.
It's not going to be he's learning an entire new playbook.
Exactly. But it's not. Football is football. A deep out is a deep out. A deep in is a deep in. The problem
What would you know about that?
That's all I know. The problem comes in. The problem comes in when you don't assess it right away. I've always said to people, what I've learned in those Pro Bowls with that offense of San Fran, when they call a play, I said to myself, man, when I leave that huddle and I'm thinking about what route do I run, what route, I lose every time. I lose every time. So it's so important to know right now, when they call the play, bam, I got to know what route I run. So I'm leaving the huddle, going to the line of scrimmage thinking, how do I win on this route? If I'm thinking, what route do I run? I lose. I must be thinking, how do I win on this route? That's why it's imperative to understand the offense right away so all my ability goes to deciphering the defense.
If he can't drive that Ferrari that is San Francisco's offense, then I'm going to let you know something. I hear y'all talking about the playbook and how complicated it is. Listen to me.
No.
That offense is tailor-made to succeed. Brock Purdy is not the most physically gifted. But he is in the driver's seat of a Ferrari. What I'm saying is
it's still too early for me to decide what Brock Purdy is.
You're saying that offense operates more shoulders up than shoulders down.
No.
I've watched Sean. I've watched Steve Young real close. I've watched Joe Montana. Right now, those are two different types. Kind of fitting that Brock Purdy and Trey Lance ideology right there. And Joe Montana, you say what you will, I will say, was a better quarterback. I love Steve Young, had a great career, but I'm taking Joe Montana. And Brock Purdy looks like the Joe Montana to Trey Lance, not even Steve Young yet, but he will become something.
Quick point of order. I watched Brock Purdy a whole lot at Iowa State. I saw him 3 times against my Oklahoma Sooners. He looked nothing like he has looked in San Francisco. Right. Trust me. I bet I saw a dozen games of Brock Purdy, not one of which looked like any of the games I watched last year in San Francisco. Is that a tribute to Kyle? Is that a tribute to the run game, to the offense? Will he come back to earth? Will he get exposed at some point? To your point, he just might.
He might.
Okay, so here's...
They got the book on him now.
Okay, so here's my problem. Jerry Jones said Saturday night, we have no role for Trey Lance this year with the Cowboys. No role, because he's not better than Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is 5-1, and those 5 were really big-time games. I thought Cooper Rush operated the offense more efficiently and effectively than Dak has over a 5-game period.
There you go.
So I'm good there. And obviously, Trey Lance is not better than...
Go too far sometimes. That's too far.
Okay, but
Yeah, you went far right there.
That's too
I
far.
didn't. I did not. I told you the God's truth. That's what happened last year. Go
Yeah, but
look.
that playbook was tailor-made
Okay,
for
but
Brock
look at
Purdy,
this play.
though. I mean,
Okay.
for Cooper Rush. That playbook
Okay,
was
look,
for Cooper
wait a
Rush.
second. Think about Cooper Rush. He gets thrown into the fire when they're on a roll at Minnesota. This is 2 years ago, and it was Sunday night, and he throws for 325. Don't tell me it's tailor-made for him.
It was tailor-made.
He showed up.
He hits Amari
tailor-made.
Cooper.
He showed up. Don't keep
He
give
hits
to
him
him,
with
Skip.
51 seconds left. He hits Amari for 5 yards for the game winner, 20-16. Then he starts off last year against the defending AFC champ Bengals. It's a Sunday night game, big stage, and he throws for 235. And on the last series, in the last minute, he hits CD for 8, then he hits Noah Brown for 12, and he hits CD for 10, sets up a walk-off field goal. It was an incredible drive. Then he goes, turns right around and goes to the Giants as they're going to open on Sunday night against the Giants. He's at the Giants against the arch rival, and they are on an early roll. And what does he do? They fall behind because Saquon busts loose late third quarter. They're down 13-6, and he goes on a run in the next 2 possessions. He goes, this is Cooper Rush, 12-13 for 123 yards. Touchdown, game over. He was good against Washington. He didn't have to be good against the Rams because they ran for 163. And then he got off to a rocky start at Philadelphia, and then here he came. Gallup drops a touchdown pass at the end of the half, and they have to take a field goal. Then he comes out in the second half, touchdown. And all of a sudden I look up, and it's 20-17. Philly 20, and Jalen takes over the next series with 3 straight third down conversions with his legs. I'm telling you, Cooper Rush can flat play, and Romo predicted on CBS that he would get a deal, and for the league agrees with you. They're just seeing just some guy. And he did not get a deal, which was music to my ears because we got him back.
If you listen,
and we got the perfect quarterback situation.
I understand the Cowboy love. All right, I get it. I get it with you and Skip. I played for him. I like him too. But here's what I'm gonna say when you break down the Cooper Rush situation, man. The playbook was tailor-made for him.
Hey, but it's tailor-made for everybody.
No, it's not. No, that is the coach's job. But what they did when Dak Prescott came back is they opened it back up. Rather than take that same playbook and give it to Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Because Dak's skill set is better. You know this, Michael. They felt like, we can ask him to do more.
Right.
That's exactly what happened.
How much did Dak do at San Francisco in the playoff game?
now,
It was wide open. Open that book up.
But
go look at the numbers. We scored 12
That's what they
points.
decided to do.
But that doesn't make sense.
That
doesn't make sense.
We fixed that by going to get brand new.
All they got to do, all they got to do, Sherman.
Right.
We needed one last year.
All they got to do, Sherman, with Dak Prescott is stick to the same game plan they have with Cooper Rush. They decided to open it back up. And that's when they got into trouble.
They didn't decide, hey, we gonna limit it with Cooper Rush.
Absolutely.
That's all
Man,
subjective.
they ran the ball. They ran the ball extremely well, and the defense at that 6-game stretch was playing lights out.
They still were running the ball. Dak was not efficient. Dak was not good with the football. I can hear what you're saying.
No, he wasn't.
He was not good with the football.
Because they asked him to do more.
They asked him to throw it to his team and not the other team.
Thank you.
That's not a crazy thing.
Stop.
I'm not about to let y'all go keep
There was a lot going on in that. There was a lot going on in
It's
that.
a lot going on in everything, but why wasn't that going on when Cooper Rush was playing? Why wasn't that happening when Cooper Rush was playing?
Because they wasn't allowing Cooper Rush to do the same things as Dak.
They're not telling Cooper Rush to not throw interceptions, just like they're telling Dak to not throw interceptions. They're not telling him, hey, throw it to your guys and not the other team.
You're correct, throw it to the right color. But when you are telling Cooper Rush, hey, we're going to run screens, we're going to run shallow crosses, we're going to dink it.
That's not all he was
pushing the ball down the field.
That man was pushing the ball down the field. They were making big plays. He threw for 325 in his
You got to point at something. Coach Cooper Rush did a great job. Running the offense. And staying in the main guys. But let me go back to something. Remember now, last year, early on with Dak, we have CeeDee Lamb trying to morph into this #1 receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
So early on, CeeDee had some drops. And some balls went through his hands. And some balls went through his hands, and they turned up interceptions. Some balls went through a lot of those receivers' hands that turned up interceptions. And everybody put it on Dak, but the ball was dropping on people's hands. Hey, early on, as CeeDee was converting, and you guys know this, I talked to CeeDee about it. I said, CeeDee, hey, man, you're the #1 receiver now. everybody's going to be around you all the time. There is no you going to be
you got to run the right route.
So right. And what he was trying to do with everybody around him, he was still trying to catch balls in his hands. And there's a natural defense mechanism within the body to protect you when people are around you. If I squeeze my hand, you're going to blink your eye naturally. So now he's trying to catch it. I said, wait, let me finish. I told him, I said, listen, man, with all these people around you, learn to catch this ball in your body. Right. So in your hands, you tighten up, ball goes through you. Or you tighten up, ball hits the ground.
That's the worst advice I've ever heard for a receiver. Don't catch it with your hands, catch it with your body.
How you gonna tell me that's the worst advice? I'm only one of the best to ever do it at playing that game.
What I'm saying is,
I don't know how you can tell me
catch it with your body and not your hands.
It led to championships on every level. What I'm talking about doing, I won championships on every level doing. I don't know how you're going to say that's bad advice. How is that bad advice?
Because if you're telling kids to catch with their body and not their hands.
Sherman, you got to listen to what he's saying.
One second.
No.
I understand
what he's saying.
Thank you.
But what I'm saying, I play quarter. If you catching it in your body, you bringing it that close, and I'm on your back, I'm getting that out of there. Every single time. I'm getting that out of there. You're not bringing it in your body. Catch it with your hands out here. But what I'm saying is, y'all are making excuses saying a professional, 12 games.
I'm telling you.
He played 12 games.
No, we're letting you, we're trying.
Y'all are making excuses. Y'all just said it was because of CeeDee Lamb.
They're not excuses.
No,
Y'all just said it was CeeDee Lamb thought he threw 15 interceptions.
No, I didn't say it was CeeDee Lamb. I said he dropped some balls early on.
Let me break it down to
fact. You said facts earlier. We talking facts.
Mike, let me break it down in a much simpler fashion real quick. What Playmaker is saying, though, is that when you have people around you,
your
not
body
one
naturally
DB,
tense up.
you naturally tense up.
That's
so
a
therefore,
natural thing.
Protect yourself
King.
to be able to catch the football.
Come on.
On top of that, when you talk
You
about
a DB,
12
y'all don't even
games,
catch.
when you talk about
led
12
the decade
games,
in interceptions.
when you talk about interceptions with Dak Prescott in 12 games, yes, he threw a lot. There's no question about it. But I, in particular, can go to games and I can look. I go to the Green Bay Packer game. They're running double posts. They're stacked on top of each other. The tight end and CeeDee Lamb. They're right on top of each other. So a quarterback hits his back foot in rhythm. He wants to let it rip. He lets it rip, and all of a sudden, when it's gone, he can't bring it back. They on top of each other. So the first thing that we do is we say, oh, why did he throw the interception? It's really the receiver.
It was the read.
Okay, but don't throw it.
Right.
Just,
But he's already pulling it. It's the read. It's the timing.
Last thing on Trey Lance. This is just me speaking as a Cowboy fan. Let's just say, hypothetically, Dak has another long, hard year. Let's say he leads the league in picks again. Let's just do the hypothetical. Trey Lance has little to no experience. If he's healthy, he's only 23 years of age, and he's running scout team through the year. Is there a point where next preseason you just throw him into the fire early? You're going to have to play him and risk him getting beat up and hurt. And just see what he can give you in quote-unquote real games against second and third teamers, but just see what it feels like.
They're going to do that anyway.
Okay.
Right. They're going to do that anyway.
At some point, would you ever plunge and just say, this kid is so talented, we have to close our eyes and just see if he can do it?
Not yet. No. So what you're saying on a hypothetical, though, Skip, is next season, off-season, they see him, the whole off-season comes, they get a chance to really – if they still there as a staff, depending on what happens, get a strong look at him. Of course they're going to do that. Again, Dak Prescott has 2 years and $60+ million left. Right. Not all guaranteed money. So now they're talking about an extension. So if something goes wrong this year, you certainly start to look at it and go, okay, is this another? Do we want to invest another $150, $200 million in a guy that we're not sure on?
Okay.
Right. One last thing. First of all, when you catching the football, you don't have to worry about people taking your head off. That's why you can catch in your hands. I just want to give you that quick right there. Second of all, for you, Trey Lance backing up Dak Prescott in next year, and I'm with you. You give him every rep in the preseason next year. Every rep in the preseason. You already know what Cooper Rush, you get him out here. The best part about it is they have similar skill sets.
Yes.
Similar skill sets. So you talked about that offense transforming from Cooper Rush when they went back to Dak and all that. Now, with this, That's what's good. You can give them every rep in the preseason next year and still go right back to Dak because the talent is similar, and you can have the same preseason get the rest of the guys. That's why it works. You don't have to catch the ball. Ain't nobody trying to take your head off. So don't be trying to tell me my receivers catch it in their hands. You won't get them knocked out for nothing. At least when you catch it in your body,
with your
the first down, I got knocked out, but I still had the first down. You gonna get somebody knocked out.
I thought if you let the ball get to your pads, it ricochets off.
No.
Enough.
Come on, Keith.
Hold these thoughts.
We need to add our
We're
numbers up
going to
together
get
see where
back
they
to
at.
Trey Lance later in the show.